Hi, I'm Chef Curtiss Hemm with the Carriage House. Today we're going to cook a classic crab bisque. This is a really easy soup to make. It's something that fits both winter and summer. You just require a non-reactive pot. So by non-reactive, I mean stainless steel. You want something that's going to hold all the liquid. This is about 6 quarts. And the ingredients couldn't be simpler. We're going to start off with heavy cream, half and half. So we control our fat content. We're going to use a very quick seafood stock. This is a great brand I happen to like a lot. We're going to use pasteurized crab meat. So by pasteurized, I mean it's cooked in the can. And all you have to do is open it. This lasts in your fridge and freezer for quite some time. So it's something that's easy to have on hand, and occasionally it does go on sale. Our thickener, which makes it a bisque, is jasmine long grain rice. It's very fragrant. It has a wonderful texture, and it cooks in a very short order, and it's going to cook directly in these 3 ingredients. And this is a one-pot, simple, no roux, not a lot of reduction, very vibrant, fresh flavors. So we can go right at it. So our ingredient list is really simple. It's 2 cups of fish stock. So this is 4 cups. So my measuring tool says half of this. And I just go back and check. I've made this soup a couple times as well. So we'll be done with that one. Heavy whipping cream, which is about 30% butterfat. So this gives it a lot of texture. Again, we're going to go to kind of the halfway point on this. And you can't see it, but you can feel it. And if you have too much, it's not the end of the world. It's certainly going to cook down a little bit. And then half and half. Very rarely would I cook half and half. But in this soup, because we're going to gelatinize the starch of the rice, it actually binds it and stops it from curdling. So again, half. And then we're going to add directly our 1 cup of jasmine rice. So this is this is a polished jasmine rice. So it's a polished long grain rice. So there's actually a fine amount of rice powder left from the polishing. Normally, if I was going to cook a pilaf, I would wash this off in several rinses of water. But because I'm actually going to use it as a thickening agent, I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to add that directly in. And I'm going to give it a stir. And then I'm going to put that on the heat. And we're going to bring that up to a simmer. And we're going to let thyme take over for us. And we're going to let that come up to a simmer and then just let the rice cook down a little bit. We're going to end up mixing this up and pureeing it with an immersion blender. You could certainly use a regular blender, but if you do use a regular blender, always be cautious when you put hot soup in a blender. There's a lot of pressure in there and the top tends to blow off. So I like to use an immersion blender for safety in classes. This is a really high-powered one. This is a Vitamix, but any one of those simple ones that you find at one of the grocery stores or pharmacies is perfectly fine. Our crab meat is a lump crab meat. I don't like to buy the cheapest crab meat available. This is about $18 for an 8-ounce can. And if you take a look at the crab itself, so if you come on in, we'll take a look at the crab. This is what we're looking for when I say lump crab meat. It's got some what we call flecks or flakes in there from the picking process, but it's got a fair amount of the actual jumbo lumps. So we want to be able to hold some of those back. And fortunately, what they do in the can is they actually put a lot of it on the bottom too. So that's really fortuitous for us. So as we go to mix that in, we can hold back a few pieces. And then for heat, we're going to put in a little cayenne pepper. I happen to like Tabasco, but I generally only use the Tabasco in the warmer months when I make this. Like I said, this is a beautiful summertime soup. In the peak of summer, July and August, a fresh tomato salad with some herbs in this bisque is a fantastic combination. All right, so it's been about 20-25 minutes. We've allowed the jasmine rice to gelatinize, which just means that the starch has absorbed the liquid. And what I'm looking for in this is I'm looking to make sure that the rice grains are no longer translucent, that they're actually white and that they're a little bit soft to the touch and that you can squeeze them and that they actually crush in your finger. So for me, this is a really good doneness for the rice, and I think it highlights at this point in time, it's not overcooked, so you have all the characteristics of the texture of the rice. You have the aroma mixed in with the cream, which makes this bisque exceptional. So we're going to shut off our heat. We're going to come over to the cutting board. I have an immersion blender here, so always be careful with these, especially if you have kids in the kitchen. Make sure that once these are plugged in that you're in control of them. And then we're just going to go nice and light. Make sure that there's plenty of liquid around the immersion blender. And I just have this on the lowest speed. I don't want to get this gummy or puree this too much. So, or too fast, I should say. You are going to have the texture of the rice grains chopped up in here, and that's what we're looking for, and that'll continue to thicken the soup as it sits. And just make sure there's nothing kind of left in there. These powerful blenders, they have a way of just kind of grabbing everything and bringing it in. And then I'll just go up 2 speeds on this really quick. And I think I'm done at that point. I'm going to leave that in there for a moment, so when I add my cayenne and my crab, I can kind of touch back on this without it tipping. So I've just got cayenne pepper. We're going to do a couple dashes. You can make this as hot or non-spicy as you want. And I'm going to add the crab in here. And actually, I think I am going to be good. I think I'll just take that out at this point in time. And I want to showcase the texture of this for you. So we went from having a really creamy soup to something that's rather viscous. And much thicker. And what happens is, as we pureed that rice, we gelatinized the starch and we created more surface area. More surface area grabs more water molecules, and therefore the rice swells, and that becomes the thickener. And the reason we call it as a bisque is because a bisque is classically a rice thickened soup. So I've got my crab meat in here. I've pulled out some for garnish. I'm going to stir that in. This way we get a lot of texture of crab. We're not going to try to puree that. I've done it both ways. Both ways are fine, but we're just trying to break up some of those big lumps. We're trying to heat up that crab. I don't think we have to go to the stove for this. I think we have enough heat residual. So we're going to let that warm up just a little bit, and then I'm going to have my bowl here for a second, and I want to show you how to do chives. So I've saved back some Tabasco, some lump crab, and now I've got chives. So I have a large knife, small for my standards, but this is a 10-inch chef knife. And knives are meant to slice back and forth. They're not meant to go down and chop like this. So when I do a knife cut like chives, I'm using what I call real estate. And I'm moving my knife back and forth. Now I can also do this in reverse, but that took a lot of time to learn. So I just want those for a garnish on the bowl, along with the lump crab meat. So I've got a ladle. I'm going to come in there, grab a good portion of bisque. I'm going to put some lump crab meat on top, just as a garnish, and I'm going to take some chive coins. And then I do like Tabasco, so I am going to spice this up a little bit. And then for me, I would just do a little bit of cracked pepper. And that is our rice and crab soup for bisque. If you're looking for the recipe, you can find those on our website, carriagehousecookingschool.com or mountainlake.org.